Hello, we are CPT 11 and we will be presenting our WeShare project. Overview. Our project WeShare aims to revolutionize social expense tracking. This presentation will cover the following sections. Our team, Section A, Research and Data Analysis, Section B, Cost/Benefit Analysis, Section D, Website Demonstration, Section E, Web Development Tools. Our team. We are four members in our team. We start with Awonke, Anika, Kwezi, and Johnny. My name is Anika Korosa, and I will be starting with Section A, Research and Data Analysis. Use of computer technology to conduct research. We used Google as our main browser to conduct our research. We use Java as our main programming language, and we use Javelin for our server. Planning and documenting our research. For research, we started off with competitor analysis, where we reviewed similar applications to understand the market. We then moved on to user surveys, where we identified essential features desired by users. And lastly, technical research, where we investigated back-end solutions and data storage options. Time taken for the research duration, approximately 60 hours, whereas for the execution time, it took approximately 2 weeks. 2 weeks to complete. Web browser plugins. We first used debugging tools to identify and fix code issues quickly. For example, the Chrome Dev tool, which was utilized for quick issue identification and resolution. We also used performance analysis tools, which were employed to measure and enhance site speed. CSS and style inspection, which are tools used to view and modify CSS directly on live pages. Responsive design testing, where we tested site appearance across various screen sizes. And lastly, version control integration, where we integrated with Git to manage project versions. Computer applications used for data research and analysis. First off, we used Canva for creating engaging visuals and presentations, like the one you're seeing right now. We use Chrome as our primary browser for research and testing, and we use StreamYard, which was used for live streaming and recording discussions. Motivation for editors and tools used. We mostly used Canva and IntelliJ. Why we used it? They both have user-friendly interfaces, which ensured ease of use for all team members, support for plugins, which are essential for extending the functionality of our tools, and compatibility, which are selected tools that work well across different platforms. In conclusion, the WeShare project leverages advanced web technologies and thorough research to deliver a user-centric social expense tracking solution.
Hi everyone, my name is Awonken Chonga and I will be taking you through the overview of cost and benefit analysis of our project part of the presentation. So, as my colleagues have mentioned, this is an expense sharing web app where friends can log expenses, request payments, and then check the shared expenses amongst themselves. So, what I aim to do is to evaluate the potential costs associated with developing and launching this app. In the presentation, I will be taking you through the direct costs of the app, which is the direct expenses that are tied to the development of the app, and the indirect expenses, which is additional expenses that we'll be having, like hosting the app on a cloud platform. And then I'll also be taking you through the benefits of the app, like social experiments, financial transparency, and easier tracking of shared expenses. For the direct costs, these include the development, so that would be your backend development first. We used a rough estimate of 200 Rand expense or cost per hour. So for the backend development, this includes creating the logic for the app, which is expense tracking, logic for payment requests, and basic email-based authentication. And at 200 Rand per hour cost, this estimate goes up to 40,000 Rand. For the front-end development, the tasks would include implementing user design interface, the styling according to the mockups and the requirement of the project itself, and the responsive design adjustments. And also this at 200 rands per hour estimate takes us to about 20,000 rands. You will see the responsive design as well as the interactiveness of the user with the user interface in our G section, where my colleague will be taking you through how the app works and how the app looks. And of course, at all parts, we need to make sure that the app is tested and is of quality. So, for testing, conducting unit tests, integration tests, and user acceptance tests, we need to make sure that this app is as functional as it's supposed to be and it does what it needs to do. And we also need to make sure that it's secure. So, at 200 rands per hour, the research for the quality assurance and the testing for this app goes up to an estimate of 15,000 rands. So in total, these would be our back end development cost, which is our direct cost. The total would be 75,000 rands. Going into our indirect costs, so this would include the hosting on the AWS platform, and we used AWS because it allowed us to do estimates with the AWS calculator. So for the hosting, we'd need hosting as well as maintenance. So those would be our indirect costs. We could use a free tier, but that's for a low usage project. For a cost estimate, we would use EC2 instance for backend. So this is around 100 Rand per month. And we would need RDS, AWS RDS for the database. So this would go up to 250 rands per month. This is for small storage requirements. And then we would also use S3 for file storage. So this is a small storage. This app doesn't require a lot of storage. So S3 file storage for about 50 Rand a month sound reasonable. So we would also use Route 3 for the domain of the web app, which is roughly 20 Rand per month. And just advising that these are all lowest cost or lowest estimates possible. So it can always use more services as an AWS platform is a pay as you use service. You can always upscale, you can always use more services as your business requires. So the total monthly cost approximate of hosting this app on AWS would be around 420 Rand per month post launch, with excluding scaling. So you would need to scale it to your business requirements or your app requirements. However, this is the basic estimate on how much it would take to host this app on AWS. This is just a rough overview of what the AWS calculator looks like. So you can scale up and scale down according to your needs of the app. So you can get an estimate of how much this app would cost on the AWS platform. Part of the success of anything is to prepare for its failure, prepare for its delays, and prepare for anything that may hinder the development, the hosting, as well as just the overall project itself. So, our potential costs for failures in design include support, specialist support that may be required. For example, security, because we are talking financial conversations, security optimization, and database optimization. So this would be at an estimate of 10,000 Rand for consultation. And it would also depend on how much optimization you need for how much specialized support you would require for this particular web app. So the impact of delays would be on the back end functionality, affecting the time and amount of time that is utilized in developing the app. So we would take this estimate to an additional 3,000 to 5,000 rands for additional expenses that are unexpected. Yes, unexpected delays and just unexpected expenses overall. So, for our favorite part, because we all want to see the benefits of the app that we are spending on. So, the benefits of this web app, it is a very key benefit in helping users manage shared expenses, easily reducing disputes because financial disputes can be yeah, very tough ones. So there is increased transparency in terms of expenses, sharing expenses amongst social circles. It is also time saving because the app will do a simple method to check the expenses as well as the repayments. So it saves a lot of time of taking out the calculator and remembering how much you owed John in the last month. Also, it does have a lot of market potential and social engagement because it is a socially driven tool, and it appeals to users that are very lightweight, that don't want to think too much, and it's a very reliable way to manage their expenses amongst friends. It's also very good for people who value financial management. Yes, so for the financial management, it's very easy for people to also get into that habit of managing finances well. And I would see it as also a very good self-development app in finances for you to be able to check your finances and to check your expenses as you go. So to conclude this presentation for the costs and the benefits, our total costs, as we have mentioned, would include the development of the app, your front end, your back end. It would include your hosting and maintenance. It would also include the ongoing maintenance of the project itself. So this would take us to a rough estimate of 104,000 rands. So just clarifying there, the hosting and the maintenance is an estimate for at least hosting it for a year. Obviously, going further than that would have more cost implications on the project itself, but that is a rough estimate of starting and launching the web app. And then the benefits justification of the app, to it has a potential to attract the user base that values, as I mentioned, social financial engagement. Also, it has a competitive advantage because it's easy to use, it's based on trust, and it easily checks the expenses for the users. So the project costs are justifiable based on the project benefits, in my view, and the user value because it has a clear strategy for how to share the cost among friends. It's very transparent and it's very user friendly. And that brings us to the end of the expenses and cost benefit analysis. And we take away that this app does have a clear maintenance and implementation. It could be a very good investment in expense checking and checking expenses among friends and promoting financial management and financial freedom.
Good morning. My name is Johnny, and today I'll be giving you a quick rundown on the entire WeShare project. On startup, you get greeted by this lovely login page that just requires your email to log in. Once you successfully entered your email, the valid one, of course, and you click login, you get greeted by the home menu. On the home menu, as you can see, we have three labels. We have an expense, payment request sent, and payment request received. The default menu is the expense menu that shows all the expenses that you have made over a period of time. If you click on payment request sent, This shows all the people that owe you. Remember, WeShare is an expense tracker between you and your friends. So by people that owe me, we're referring to your friends whom you went on a lunch with and you paid for their lunch and they have to pay you back. So as you can see, we are logged in as student one and we went on a lunch with student two and our student two owes us 100 Rand. Right at the bottom, you'll see total expenses. Now, total expenses is all the money that you are yet to receive from everybody that owes you. Then we have payment request receive. By payment request receive, we mean everyone that owes you that has paid you back. Once student two, in our case, since student two owes us 100 Rand, once they pay us that 100 Rand, we should see the transaction here by payment request received. Back to expenses. Here at expenses, you can click a previous expense, like for example, lunch, and then you'll get this description that tells you who should pay you. And as you can see, student two owes us 100 Rand and student three owes us another 100 Rand. And in total, that makes 300 Rand, including what we paid. So let me just go back. We can add a new expense. Let's say airtime. Right, and we bought this airtime today. The amount of the airtime was, let's say, 150, as you can see. So we bought airtime for 150. Let's say we bought the airtime for student two. You can always click the airtime button and then the email address of the person that should pay us back. Student two, the amount that student two owes us, which is 100 Rand, and by when we expect him to pay us back. So consider this to be the due date of the payment. Let's say the 22nd, and then submit. Once you submit, you'll see previous payment request sent for this particular expense, which was to student two. They owe us 100 Rand for the airtime, and they haven't paid us yet. Okay. Now I will log in as student two. So on student two side, we'll be able to see, okay, student two went on a movie night, spent 150, therefore his total expense is 150. Payment request received, as you can see, payment request received from student one for the airtime, which is due in 17 days, and it's 100 Rand. This is the expense I added earlier on. So let's say student two does decide to pay student one back for the airtime. All you have to do is click pay, and now, as you can see, there's a tick that shows this has been paid. On student one side, let me just refresh. Back as student one, let me log out of here. So now if I log in as student one again, we go back to the airtime, we shall see student two, it was due in 17 days. Did they pay us? Yes. How much did they pay us? 100 Rand. And then now the net expense of the airtime, remember we bought 150 Rand airtime, but because student one, because student two has managed to pay us back, we still need to, of course, cover the 50 Rand because it belongs to us. So the net expense of the airtime on our side is now 50 Rand instead of 150. Overall, the project works very well. We have a database in the backend that keeps track of all the people in your circle, like for example, student one, student two, and student three, and only the people within your circle are the ones that you can request for payments, and they are the only ones that you can add when you do make an expense. And on the backend side of things, we have, just terminate this, we have HTML templates being rendered using the time leaf framework. So whatever information we need, for example, the payment date, who owes us, how much they need to pay, just gets injected into this template, and then this template renders it on the website of things. We also have so these are our models. We have our expenses model that keeps track of the expenses that's being made. We have the payment model. We also have the expenses controller that handles the transaction when you click add an expense on the web browser side of things. So overall, this project is running fine. There are minor bugs, I believe, since software, of course, is never perfect. But until those bugs are discovered, I can conclude that this entire project was a success.
Greetings. My name is Kwezi Shezi. I am presenting Section C, which are the web development tools. I'd like to start off by mentioning the important file formats in web development. These include HTML, the primary structure of web pages, CSS, which are the styling sheets that define the look of a website, JavaScript, which adds functionality and interactivity to web pages, and the different image formats, which is JPEG, PNG, SVG, and other formats include JSON and XML, which are data exchange formats used in web APIs. WebP is a modern image format for the web with much better compression than the likes of JPEG. I'd like to move on to HTML editors. These are these are softwares for creating and editing HTML code used to build websites. Examples of such HTML editors include VS Code, which is known for its versatility and extension support. Sublime Text, which is lightweight with powerful shortcuts and fast performance. Adobe Dreamweaver, which is a visual editor with drag and drop functionality. Notepad++, which is a simple free editor with syntax highlighting and is ideal for beginners. The advantages of VS Code that it's open source, extensible, ideal for collaborative work. Advantages of Dreamweaver, rather. Uh, it's beginner friendly, allows for visual coding and rapid prototyping. The disadvantages of VS Code are the high learning curve due to extensive features. Dreamweaver is a paid tool that requires a subscription. But I'd like to swiftly move on to the web design and maintenance tools. CMS, which is content management systems, such as WordPress, which is a very popular CMS with extensible plugins and themes. Joomla and Drupal for flexible sites, but more challenging for beginners. Online website builders, for example, Wix and Squarespace, offer a visual way of editing and creating websites without code, and are ideal for small businesses and portfolios. Code validation and optimization. WCC validator ensures that HTML and CSS follow standards for better browser compatibility. GC Matrix, which is Google Speed, in Google Matrix, GC Matrix, rather Google Speed Sheet Insights optimize performance by analyzing load times and CSS and JavaScript. Other web development technologies include plugins. These are software extensions that add functionality to web browsers. The role of plugins in web development include debugging and testing. Tools like Lighthouse or React Dev Tools help test performance and debug specific frameworks. There are design and accessibility tools like ColorZilla and XDev tools, which help ensure design consistency and accessibility. Major plugins types. There are debugging plugins, for example, Chrome Dev Tools or Fire Developer Tools, Firefox Developer Tools rather, and performance analysis tools like Lighthouse for auditing speed, search engine optimization, and more. There are also accessibility tools like Dev tools to identify accessibility issues. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.